Matt, first of all, I guess, how's it been like the last couple of weeks? Have you enjoyed having a little bit of a break from games?
Not really. I mean, we played really well at Burton, and you kind of just want to keep playing games. You're trying to hope that the international break doesn't kind of stop any momentum that you've had. But we've trained well this week, so hopefully we'll be back at it tomorrow.
I imagine that given the amount of games that you've had to play in quick succession in the last month, sometimes to give yourself a mental rest rather than a physical one might be a good thing.
Yeah, but I mean, we're quite used to it. It's a championship. We've been playing it for a number of years. So it is nice, obviously, you get to go away for a few days, spend time with family and stuff like that, but everybody was pretty much dying to get back at it.
What have you made of the opening couple of months of the season? Obviously, you've had decent starts in previous campaigns, and it's been at this period that it's slightly turned.
I think at the start of the season, couldn't ask really for much more. Obviously, Sheffield United was probably our biggest disappointment so far this season. But I mean, we're going to run of fixtures now, which on paper look like they could be tricky enough. So I mean, that will show at the end of that if we're really ready to go towards the top.
Because how far are you looking ahead? You clearly know what you've got coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Well, yesterday I was looking at the last 10 fixtures of the season. I went to the stadium yesterday to pick something up, and I was just looking at the piece of paper that was there. And we've got quite a tricky run in, so I'm obviously not looking that far ahead, but it was just interesting to see who we did have. But I mean, we're looking obviously tomorrow with Villa, big game. We're not looking towards Preston, it's not even been mentioned at all, so just one game at a time.
Because it's interesting, isn't it? People deal with these kind of situations different ways. Some players will say, I don't want to think about it, I just want to focus on my performance in my next game. Others will say, actually, I can look at the next 4 or 5, we want to take a certain amount of points from these games.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know exactly who we're playing in the games coming up. And you think if you beat Villa, then you're looking at Preston, you think if we beat them, we're going away to QPR. You look at stuff like that. People might be different, like you said, but each of their own, really.
Do you look at the table?
After every game, yeah. I mean, I think everybody does. First thing we do after the managers spoke after a game is you're on your phone checking results, checking who's won, if Cardiff have won, who are up there, if Leeds have won. So yeah, you're checking table, definitely.
Does it make a difference? I guess also to the way maybe people perceive you when you're in the position that you are at the minute.
I wouldn't say it makes a difference, but you'd like to look at it and see that you were second or first than fourth. So obviously for that reason it makes a difference. You'd just rather be at the top for as long as possible. You'd rather stay there all season, obviously. So in that way it makes a difference that you'd rather be there than a bit lower. That's the only way.
Because I guess there's a perception, and this might not be the case, you might tell me different, there's perception that sometimes you might go to a team or a team come here, and because you're in the position you're in, because of what's happened at this football club in the last year or so, that they will up their game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we're top of the table and teams are coming to Molineux with a sold out crowd, they're going to probably produce one of the best performances of the season. That would be different if we were 15th and place was half empty. It could be a bit of a dull game. Both teams not really at it, so it does. At least see Villa tomorrow, they'll be right on it with full stadium. So yeah, it does make a difference.
So what does that say about you as a group of players that you've been able to handle that so far?
Yeah, I mean, we've started well. I mean, obviously it's still early. The players that have come in, they've just taken it to a lot of duck to water, and long may it continue. I don't see us stepping off it really. The players that they brought in, I think they're too good to just let themselves personally die off. So I expect performances that we've been producing for the rest of the season.
From a personal point of view, a slightly different position for you this year, a slightly different role.
Really enjoyable role. It's tough. Right wing back's not easy. It's got to get both ends of the pitch. But I really enjoy it. I mean, I get to go forward. I get to defend. I feel fitter than I ever have. That's under the new system, and you get a lot of the ball. We seem to keep the ball better than we have years previously, and it's a lot more exciting. I think everybody will agree that it's a lot more exciting this year.
I mean, again, from a personal point of view, it's only a couple of weeks ago since you got yourself a new contract. Do you see yourself differently now? Have you got a different role within the squad? Because you're one of the guys who's been here the longest.
Yeah, I've said this before. I wouldn't say my role is different. I kind of let people come in and they kind of do their own thing. I'm not going to say to somebody, oh, this, you got to expect this in the Championship, because it might not happen. Just because it's happened to me, or I've had experiences before, it could be different for somebody else. They might handle things differently to me. But obviously, as a team, me, Danny, and all the boys who've been here before, we can give little bits of information come game day, what to expect, little things like that, but nothing major where the player might actually start to think about it.
Because I mean, you've been here a long time now. You've been through an awful lot as well. Are you different? Have you changed? Can you see yourself as a different person?
I wouldn't say I've changed in terms of my style of play. I've always been someone who's loved going forward. I've become a better player under the new management, I would say. Even in the short space of time that they've been here, I've become fitter. And little things like that make a huge difference in your overall game. So I'd say I've become, under the new management, definitely become better. Derby
game, you've been involved in some of these before. How different is it? How unique an atmosphere are these games?
They are different to any other game. I mean, when we walk out tomorrow, the place will be rocking before the ball's even been kicked. And that's probably the difference between that and say Cardiff, who came here. It gets noisy, obviously, but before the kick-off, the noise levels are just different. And it's packed. The place is packed, sold out. You might not get that if you're playing a different team. Villa will obviously bring a lot of fans, so I can't wait. Looking forward to it. I mean, we played really well against them last season at home, but I think we was even better when we played them away, especially in the second half. So I mean, we've got quite a good recent record against them.
Does that play a part, do you think?
No, not really. I wouldn't say it does. It's just obviously if you think about it, you think, well, they haven't beaten us at all last season, but it's not going to make a difference once we're really on the pitch.
Because when you're involved in these kind of matches, how hard is it just to play the game that you need to play with everything else that goes into it?
It's not that difficult. People might think, how do you focus with all the noise and all the crowd? It's not. Once the whistle goes, I mean, you don't hear half of it. You just block it out and you just play the game, so it won't be that difficult.
But I guess it's one of those, do you feel the pressure? Because you know expectation has been raised already this season anyway, but this is one, you walk around Wolverhampton, people want to win this game more than most.
Yeah, I mean, the expectations are higher this season, you're right. We're going in there as favourites, probably expecting to win the game. So that's a lot of different pressure for us that last season they was probably favourites playing against us. And we'll just have to deal with it. I mean, the players who've played here and who've come in, they've played in huge games before. So this ain't going to be any different to them.
I get the feeling you quite like this as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to be playing games and 15th, 16th all season, and winning a game. And obviously, it means something, but not like it doesn't mean you're getting into second position or first position or you're in the playoffs. So yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really enjoying it.